Waski.
And I'm Catherine Goldkling.
The date is February 1st, and we are reporting with DMMS National News. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is attempting to dismantle the years of progress that have been made towards rehabilitating the world's most endangered wolf species. More endangered than the snow leopard, the giant panda, or even the Siberian tiger, tonight's story is on the eastern red wolf.
Although the service claims that the proposed changes are intended to benefit red wolves in their recovery, the public has responded to the plan with lots of questions.
The Fish and Wildlife Service is intending to reduce the red wolf's current territory in North Carolina, which currently spans throughout 5 counties, into a small area in Dare County. This current recovery area, which includes parts of Dare, Terrell, Hyde, Washington, and Beaufort County, is the only place in the United States that red wolves live.
Reducing this would pose a serious threat to the wolves' path to recovery. Much concern has been generated due to the fact that the new territory will only have the capacity to support 10 to 15 wild wolves in a few packs.
Now we'll consult with our natural historian, Lynn Fallon, in order to better understand how reducing this essential piece of the red wolf's territory could backwards years of scientific progress and fatally harm a keystone species.
Thank you, Odin. Fish and Game's land management proposal is threatening to reduce the only place in the United States where eastern red wolves freely roam. These creatures were originally distributed throughout the eastern and south-central United States. Wild populations roamed from Pennsylvania all the way to Florida and as far west as Texas. After nearing the brink of extinction, the eastern red wolf was rehabilitated, but its numbers are far fewer than they were historically. Today, eastern red wolves only inhabit a 1.7 million acre area in eastern North Carolina. Because this area is dramatically smaller than the wolf's historic range, reducing it even further could potentially severely damage these species.
Thank you, Lynn. Now we will be hearing about the appearance, behavior, and life cycle of the eastern red wolf.
Speaking will be a biologist who specializes in, has lived near, and who has studied the eastern red wolf all of her life, Becky Meyer. Hi, I'm Becky Myers. Eastern red wolves, though commonly confused with the average coyote, is a species not to be distinguished casually. The wolf's fur coat is mostly gray and black, but its name comes from the mixture of red fur that is on its sides and legs. The red wolf, though smaller than the gray wolf, is larger than the coyote and weighs between 45 to 80 pounds. The wolves live usually for 6 to 7 years, and their pack consists of 5 to 8 wolves. Landowners have complained about the presence of the red wolves on their private property, but disregard the importance of red wolves to the ecosystem. The main diet of the red wolf consists of smaller prey, such as rabbits and rodents, but it is also not uncommon that they would eat a white-tailed deer. Their predation contributes to the health of the ecosystem by killing the weak and leaving those that survive the process of natural selection. The red wolf makes its den in the hollow logs or under tree stumps or along stream banks in the large dens of previous animals, proving the importance of conserving the wolf's natural habitat. Thank you, Becky. Now that we have a little background on the red wolf, we will be getting into more recent news concerning its continued survival.
This will include the cause for its last 2 almost extinctions, a recent proposal from a senator of North Carolina, and what the people and the government want from the National Fish and Wildlife Service concerning red wolves. Up next on DMMS News.
Oh yeah.
Wild orange keeps me wild!
When life gives you lemons, it's doTERRA.
Awaken your potential with essentials. doTERRA therapeutic grade essential oils.
Welcome back to DMMS News. Tonight's story concerns the red wolf rehabilitation in North Carolina and the measures people seem to be taking to both help and inhibit this long-standing goal.
Since 1993, when the Fish and Wildlife Service had its first wild births, the program has been fairly successful. With increasing populations all the way up to about 2012, it seemed like the road to recovery was well underway. That was until the 4-year period between 2012 and 2016, when the eastern red wolf lost about half of its wild wolf population.
In most recent news, Thomas Tills, a senator for North Carolina, has proposed a plan which mainly consists of the National Fish and Wildlife Service ending the rehabilitation program. He states that it has done nothing but waste money, considering how unsuccessful the entire program has been. The program has been expanding up until 2012, when human intervention through the processes of trapping, poisoning, and shooting started taking a serious toll on their numbers. He proposes that once all the wild wolves have been captured and trust between the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the residents has been rebuilt, the program can be reopened.
One issue with this is that there is a long-standing history of distrust and bad relations between the Fish and Wildlife Service and the inhabitants of North Carolina. So, to get deeper into the story, our field reporter Jane Doe will be interviewing one landowner now.
We're here with Mr. Elmer Thud. Mr. Thud, do you think it's a good idea to reintroduce the wolves back into their natural environment?
No, I don't think it's a very good idea at all. I think that those wolves just need to be out and stay out of this area. It impacts the farmers way too much. We got a lot to worry about other than worrying about coyotes, and we got bobcats and mountain lions, and now we got wolves. Now, I don't think that's a good idea at all. Yeah, I don't think so.
So, Mr. Thud, what kind of damages do the wolves cause your livestock?
Well, what they usually do is that they take down the numbers, and so, during lambing season, they will, they usually catch the little ones and eat them, and that kind of cuts into the farmer's profit and stuff. And also, if it's around lambing season or when cows give birth, if they get chased around by it, they can go abort. So actually, they do a lot of damage if they get a chance to. More likely, that's what usually will happen.
When the wolves attack your livestock, is there any compensation for the damages done?
There's small compensation, but it really doesn't cover the costs that they really do, because it's really not enough. The amount of money that they try to give you and everything, really, they don't see the big picture of farming with animals. One lamb is actually lambing for about 5 years. If you have 5 years worth of lambs, each year you get 2 lambs, right? So that just builds up. So if you lose the one, you lose 10 or 5 years or 10 lambs. And then you get a price of 1 lamb or 1 sheep. That's not compensation. That's crap.
Despite people with this view, there are many in North Carolina who are completely behind the rehabilitation of the red wolf. Back in July of 2017, when the Fish and Wildlife Service announced its plan to reduce the size of the wolf territory to an area as small as 1.7 million acres, it got pushback in the form of 12,000 comments arguing that this is no way to help the species to thrive.
Scientists, many of whom the Fish and Wildlife Service had hired to help the red wolf, stated that it was an absurd idea that this would help the red wolf return to its original populations. Some of them saying that this move was founded on an alarming misrepresentation of data.
Doreen Tansey, a local biologist in North Carolina, will now present her thoughts on the red wolf rehabilitation program.
Thank you, Odin. With us now is Doreen Tansey, a professor of wildlife biology at Warren Wilson College. Currently, Doreen is conducting a study on the rehabilitation of eastern red wolves. She is here now to give us a better understanding of this issue. So Doreen, was the Fish and Wildlife Service expecting the breeding program to be such a success?
Actually, believe it or not, when the breeding program started, it was mostly an experiment. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service didn't have great expectations because they didn't really know what to expect at all. And it wasn't actually until later on, when they started seeing such a great success in the program, that they actually started to devote more time and more money into it.
So Doreen, how did the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service go about finding a habitat that the red wolves would be able to survive in?
For the most part, it was kind of chance as well, kind of similar to the breeding program. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service looked at the historic range of the red wolf, and pretty much the area that the program was established in North Carolina, was the only area that they could find that was part of the historic range, and where the state and landowners were willing to let the wolves range on their property.
To sum this story up, it has been a very difficult issue that North Carolina will continue to wrestle with until a decision can be made.
Until then, it seems the program will continue to be scaled back due to political and some social pressures. If you want to help the rehabilitation of the red wolf, you can go to the Defenders of the Wild website and send in your comment for what should be done next with the rehabilitation program.
That ends the story for tonight, but be sure to tune in to our upcoming stories. Kale, Can It Kill You? Satanists, Not As Bad As They Might Seem, and Stop the Presses, the pros and surprising cons of going to the gym.
Thank you for watching.
And good night.
Ma.
So, Mr. Thud, do you think...
Is it mi, la, so...
Do, re, mi, fa,
Do, re,
sol,
mi,
la,
fa, sol,
ti,
la,
do.
ti, do.
Hey, you guys want this candy? Candy.
Okay, we are having fun.